grew from there into a way to explore that avenue and share it with others, and hopefully share the love that I've developed for making art through chemistry with my kids.
A production of Flint Energies, your local touch-tone energy cooperative. Front Porch Chats brings you along while we discuss interesting events, people in history, programs, and hidden gems located in Central and Southwest Georgia. Grab a glass of iced tea while we chat for a spell. I'm your host, Natalie Bradley, and today we are here with one of our Bright Ideas teachers, someone who has won one of our Bright Ideas grants, and we're going to talk to you about her plans of what she's going to use the money for in her classroom and give you some tips and tricks. So we've got Lindsay Lambert from Veterans High School. She is the gifted chemistry teacher there. So welcome, Lindsay.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being on with us. And I also have Blair Brown, who is at Flint Energies. We work in the same department together. She is our youth and education specialist. Blair is going to give us some tips on her end, what she's looking for, some important dates for the Bright Ideas grant, and what you need to look out for. So when this is releasing in 2025, our Bright Ideas grant is live on the website. Applications are being accepted June through September, and we're going to give you some more specific dates. So make sure that you really listen all the way through and get some ideas. And we want to make sure that you're not intimidated. We want to invite all of our teachers and all 17 of the counties that we serve to apply for this and get the money that you need to help you in your classroom. So, Lindsay, why don't we start with you telling us a little bit more about what you do at Veterans and how long you've been there and anything else that you want to share with our audience.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So I am celebrating my 4th year at Veterans High School this year. Came from another county in Georgia, and I taught biology, and they invited me to fill the role of gifted chemistry. So I teach honors chemistry and AP chemistry here, and really sort of found my groove, found the place that I felt at home at in that world. And I do a couple other things here. I'm Science National Honor Society sponsor, and we do a lot of fun things with that. And then I'm also part of our GHP selection process here. So,
what is GHP?
So that's our Governor's Honors Program.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I should know it. Okay. I did that through music. So,
Oh, how
but
exciting.
we weren't cool enough to call it GHP back in the 90s.
Got it. I'm sure you were. I'm sure you were.
I love it. Well, I
Yeah.
have to tell you that my dad is a pharmacist, and I wanted to be a pharmacist until I took honors chemistry in high school. I was not gifted in it, and I was like, who put me in this honors class? But I think I would have enjoyed it if I had been in your class, because when we came into your classroom to present the grant, I was like, oh my gosh, you just strike me as like the most fun science teacher. Blair, didn't we talk about it like the whole way back in the car? We were like, we love Lindsay. We want to be in her class.
I'm flattered.
Yes, I'm being totally serious. My dad was like, you just didn't have the right teacher. And I was like, I don't know if that was my gift, but
I do believe the teacher you have brands the class for you.
yes.
For sure.
I do think that is a big part of it. So obviously, you must have applied for something science related. So why don't you tell our audience, what did you put in your grant? Like, what are you planning to use your money for?
I actually wrote a curriculum that in its infancy started out as a book someone shared with me about how to make inks using foraged materials. And I actually have a degree in biology in plant science, and fell in love with chemistry as a byproduct. And so I sort of immediately glommed onto that and wanted to develop it further. And so I started putting these pieces together called The Chemistry of Color. And it gives where students are able to come in and they can maybe lean into a passion that isn't science for them, and sort of grasp on to more of the art or creative aspects that you don't often get to see in chemistry.
Yeah.
where students are collecting forged materials and creating forged dyes and inks that they then can use to make artwork with, as well as we do some synthetic dyes and pigments that we make using chemicals and chemical products similar to what you'd see in the dye industry for clothing or art supplies, as well as indigo dye making. The kids actually get to make indigo from scratch, which is actually a collegiate level lab.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Yeah. So they're getting to experience sort of what dyes and pigments are, how they relate to real world things they're doing, and real world things that they wear and touch and put on their face. And so they're creating both the synthetic and naturally derived dyes and pigments that we use then to create works of art using watercolor art products and demonstrating the marrying of the art world and art preservation. We do a lot of talking about art preservation and how that applies to chemistry. And so it really sort of brings in that opportunity for our students that enjoy the fine arts
Yeah.
to put their talents to use in a way where they're learning about chemistry, and a little bit of organic chemistry gets pulled in here and really sort of marrying those two worlds.
And this is why we fell in love with you. So, all of us are artists in different ways, and so Blair is a very gifted, graphic artist, and she does all these awesome graphic designs, and Marion and we create art and in different ways, and we were like, oh my gosh, we would have, been 100% on board with seeing chemistry. And I'm a very visual, like hands-on person, and I think that's what was, like you said, I mean, that's what's very exciting about it, because I think it helps somebody that maybe can't wrap their mind around like the periodic table of elements and exactly how does it all, work together, and
Absolutely. It sort
you
of
apply it.
takes those theoretical
Yeah,
concepts that there's no way to really show, but you can see the manifestation of them in a physical way.
yeah,
And so,
I
yeah.
love that. I love that.
Yeah.
So,
Thank
Blair,
you.
do you wanna talk about when Lindsay's application came through, like, what is appealing to the judges, to everyone that's looking at this from the administration side?
Lindsay's project, I mean, the first thing that stood out, the color of chemistry and artistic approach to the world of chemistry. And I have it sitting right in front of me. But what's so cool about it is that it takes science, a simple form of science with chemistry, and then combines it with art. And at Flint Energies, we have a passion for encouraging students to explore any part of STEAM education. And so, with combining, the simple elements of science and then an interest of art, is such an innovative approach to education that I really know that the judges caught on to and said, this is something different, something we want to pursue and invest in. And it really represents an ideal project that Bright Ideas is all about. Like I was saying, it takes it from periodic tables to the art table, and really gives kids a different look at something that maybe they didn't know about before, or didn't have an interest in before. And then when they come out of that, they just maybe they have something else they want to explore as well.
Yes. Amen. So, Lindsay, do you just have a natural love for, like, art and making things like that, or was this something that you talked to somebody else and you kinda got the idea how to mesh the 2 together?
I am known as a collector of archaic skills. Um, I love to collect skills that are dying arts, that are things that we've lost touch with.
I love that.
And coming from a STEM-based background, I never really considered myself to be a very artistic or creative person. I love to cook and create in that way, but I'm married to an artist, and that is not my strong suit. And so I love art and I appreciate all things about the fine arts. And I really wanted to be able to have an identification piece with my students that also feel strong in those areas. But really, to answer your question most directly, I don't like to not know how to do something or know about something. And so that's an active learning piece in my pursuit of knowledge. And so I started learning how to paint watercolors and started watching some YouTubers and started getting into watercolors. And then looking at dyes and clothing and how we absorb different dyes into our skin when we wear them and what's safe and what's not safe. And so that sort of birthed the journey. And from there, it just sort of exploded into all of the many facets and the holistic aspects to art and science and how they align, and art preservation techniques and the chemistry that goes into that, and the making of the art products and the making of the dyes. And so it really just sort of explored that for my, it scratched that part of my brain. And I thought, well, if it scratches my brain, it's going to scratch my gifted students' brains
Yes.
who view their life through a multidimensional outlook. And they like to see the interconnectedness of everything. And so I knew that it would do that for them. So it did start out sort of as a passion for me. And then it grew from there into a way to explore that avenue and share it with others, and hopefully share the love that I've developed for making art through chemistry with my kids.
It's
Yeah.
I think that the teachers that we're talking to, it seems like the things that keep showing up, like the themes and the tendencies that I'm seeing kind of shine through are curious natures, maybe a little bit of quirkiness thrown in there, lots of passion and lots of love. Like it just keeps coming back up. And I think that our teachers that are naturally curious about things and just they love learning, it's contagious, and it comes through. And I think that those seem to be really great applications that come through. Blair, did you want to add anything about that?
No, I was just kind of agreeing with what you were saying about the best applications come from those that love what they do and are passionate about sharing their excitement. And I think, Lindsay, you summed that up perfectly because you had the interest, you had a passion, you wanted to share it with your students, so you explored it and just went for the grant and you got it. And I don't know how many times that maybe I don't know if have you applied for the grant before?
No, ma'am.
Okay, okay. So, this is your first time applying and you won it. And it's just because, you took the chance and you went for it. And it's projects like these that these judges read and it stands out to them and they get like you won $1,500 to support this project. And that's the cool thing about Bright Ideas is that it's not just one topic. It's not just chemistry. It's not just high school, middle school, elementary school. You can be at any level of education within our school systems, and if you have an interesting project that you care about, submit it and you could win that grant money.
So can we talk a little bit, like piggybacking on that, like um the lesson plans that are interdisciplinary in nature and approach. Blair, can you talk about what that looks like from the administration of the grant? Like, what does that look like from your side? And then, Lindsay, I would love to get your take on it and any tips and suggestions you have.
So this year we were able to fund 21 grants, which totaled $25,000 from the Flint Energies Foundation. And it was great to see so many subjects represented. As you were saying, we had teachers from so many levels: elementary, middle, high school, PE, music, art, chemistry, English, mathematics. They went all over the place. That is a great thing because it just shows to all teachers out there, if you have an idea of what you're passionate about, go for it.
Lindsay, what do you think from your perspective?
So I think the hardest thing in being an educator is often to find relevance for students. A lot of times, you have that age old saying of, when am I ever going to use this? And so chemistry has a lot of relevance in our everyday world. It's why our world exists and is, in the fundamental increments.
Mhm.
But I think what's really important is it's our job as educators to help other disciplines be relevant when they naturally aren't. So not every school has a really developed art program.
Mhm.
And for some schools, a science teacher could incorporate that. And I think it's just very important. You spoke about how consistently the teachers that receive these grants, they all are very curious about other things. Your students are curious about how those things fit together too. They're curious about how historically molecules have been developed over time and how they've, existed through history. And
Mhm.
they're interested in how different papers for art, multimedia versus watercolor, what is it about that makes watercolor paper different from multimedia paper? And there's a chemical answer to that.
Mhm.
And so when you reach out into the disciplines around you, science and art and music and English, and you marry them together for students, you create a very tight knit web that falls under the umbrella of knowledge and the
Yes.
love and pursuit of knowledge. It's not about the love and pursuit of my subject. It's about the love and pursuit of knowledge as a whole. And it's a holistic outlook. And so when you're able to marry those and sort of, as you put it, reach across the hallway and tag in another partner, that's fantastic. It also creates an area for professional development
Mhm.
amongst teachers and peers because you learn from them and you share with them and they learn from you. And as a result, our students become more well rounded and well developed adults. And really, they are the end game. And we want that for them. So doing that benefits them.
You have such a great way of putting it. It's just perfect. So, Blair, why don't we talk about some dates real quick and applying, and then let's give some tips. So we're going to put in the show notes links to the application so that you can pull that right up very easily. And we'll also put this on our website in the blog section, which is our front porch chats online, so that you can get to it and find it very easily. The application goes live every year in June. And will you tell everybody like how this works and what they need to look for and what dates they need to be aware of?
So the next round of Bright Ideas grants will start in June of 2025, and we'll go through the second week in September. And we have what's called an early bird deadline, where if you submit your grant online by that first Friday in September, you're eligible to win you're entered into a drawing to win one of two Visa gift cards worth $250 each, which is a huge reward, but you're also still eligible to win that Bright Ideas grant that you applied for. You go to flintenergies.com/bright-ideas and you will create a account on kaleidoscope.com where you complete your application, and you can go back in there and complete it at a different time if you need to. But once you submit that application and the deadline passes, it is then judged by of three retired teachers we have selected, and they go through and they judge those blindly, which means that we ask that you don't include any information such as your name, what school you teach at, your city mascot, anything like that that could tell them perhaps who you are. From that, when we get the information, the Bright Ideas Brigade brings out our prizes and big checks and loves to go out and surprise our winning teachers.
So make sure that you go look at the show notes again, and everything will be linked right there so that you can just click straight through and make that easy. Lindsay, will you talk about the process of what it was like for you as a teacher, and maybe just give some tips to it, especially if somebody's afraid to try for the first time? I think it's great that you tried this first time, you won. So I think you can really speak to that.
Sure. So I did apply for it the first time. I had heard about the grant. I'd had friends who had applied in the past, and they were always like, "Oh, you should try, you should try." And I was like, I'm not a grant writer. I'm not good at that. I can't do that. And honestly, guys, sometimes when teachers hear the word grant, we automatically go to that place in our brain and we think of these. The process is very streamlined. It is very straightforward. The whole process from start to finish, what you need to put where, is very descriptive. It's not in any way, should not be daunting. I have only been teaching 8 years, so I haven't been teaching that long in the grand scheme.
Mhm.
So you don't have to be a 15-year veteran. You could be a newbie teacher. You could, be midway or less than midway like me. My number one tip is this. I want you to write a lesson plan with no drawbacks. When we write lesson plans as teachers, we always, oh, well, the budget, and oh, well, the time, and oh, well, the this, and oh, well, the that. And you do have to be cognizant of that. But imagine you could write a lesson plan and it's your dream lesson plan. What would you want to do with your students that would enrich their lives and there were no drawbacks? That's the premise or the platform you need to start from. Because I wrote a curriculum that had no drawbacks. It was exactly what I wanted with no monetary budget. It was what I wanted. And that's what I put forward because you're going to be most passionate about that. So just imagine the one thing you've always wanted to do with your class that you never had time or money to do, or budget was limited, so you didn't really get to do it the way you wanted. And write that lesson plan. Include other disciplines and how it reaches them, and go for it. Don't hesitate. Get on there and do it. Finish it and turn it in. Nothing is gained if you don't try.
Yes. That was an amazing tip. Blair, we need to put that on a poster with Lindsay's face and and her lesson plan in action next to it. So that's great, right? Your dream lesson plan with no drawbacks. That is the best way to put it. Do you care if we steal that?
Yeah, I would love to steal it.
I mean, I'm
I
not
give,
over it. I'm just telling
I
Blair.
give you legal liberties. Yeah.
I know Blair loves it.
Thank you for what you said. And be thorough with what you're writing down, because you have to think you're talking to another teacher when you're doing this, so they know what you're talking about related to the standards that you make your lesson plan on. And then what I've told people about, be thorough with your budget summary description, because they want to know what you're spending this money on. Go to Amazon.com or wherever you find your supplies and load it up. Make a copy of it, strike out your name, and attach it to your application, because that's going to provide us with great information.
And that's what I did. I went through and I created a shopping cart of links and with prices, and I went through and just created like a wish list. Imagine it's a wish list
Yes, they
for
love
your
that.
classroom.
And I think because it's itemized too, we can tell like there's a lot of thought that's gone into it. You know exactly what you need. You're not guessing. And
Right.
that helps. And these teachers, like Blair said, they're retired, so they know the drawbacks. So,
Mhm.
they're rooting for you too. And they want you to be able to do your dream lesson plans. Lindsay, is there anything that we didn't talk about that you want to make sure that you share, or anything that you're dying to say?
I think what's most important to point out here, guys, is that we're doing this for our students. You want this for your student. You're not doing this for you. You're
Mhm.
doing it for them. And I know that, as all teachers would say, there's not much you won't do for students and for their success. This is their success. So take a chance. You are good enough. Your idea is good enough. Put it out there. And if you apply and you don't get it that year, try again. Right? Keep going.
Absolutely. That's great advice. Blair, is there anything that we didn't say that you want to make sure that is said?
I did want to share a funny story about
Okay.
Lindsay, and you can use it if you want to or not. But when we went to Veterans High School, the prize brigade to present, they had 3 winning teachers this year, which is like a super great thing. And we went and presented one, and I can't recall who it was, but you, Lindsay, you were there. excited and cheering on your friend that she just won this brightest grant for her classroom. And then sure enough, you were the next classroom we went to, and it was just like, hold on, we just saw you.
And we didn't know who you were.
Yeah,
And
it
you
was
didn't
so
know that you were
funny.
going to win, but you were such the cheerleader. That's so true.
Well, that's what it's about though. If I don't get it, someone else gets it. Kids got it.
Yeah.
Kids
Amen.
got it. Someone's life is touched. So, yeah, I believe in being cheerleaders,
Yeah.
and I believe in we are successful as a whole,
Yeah.
not as a unit, right? So,
Yes. I love that. And that's why you won. So we need everybody to have that attitude. That's awesome. Thank
yes.
you. Thank you so much for
Thank
sharing.
you. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And keep applying, Lindsay.
I will. Let's see what else I can dream up. We might do the chemistry of cosmetics next.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
Wouldn't that be fun? We could
Yes.
all do makeovers. It would be great.
We just want to be invited, that's all.
You are always invited. You're welcome anytime. Anytime.
Oh my gosh. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So much for being such a great ambassador for the Bright Ideas program and for Flint's education programs.
Thank you so much, Blair, and thank you, Flint Energies, for making this possible. We appreciate you, and we appreciate you facilitating learning and enlightenment.
If you enjoyed today's podcast, we need your help. Please give us a 5-star review wherever you're listening to this podcast. It really does help us get this information out to more people about what's going on in Central and Southwest Georgia. Also, share this podcast on social media with your friends and family because it helps get more eyes and ears on what we have going on in our fabulous communities. Thank you.